What's going on, guys? My name is Levin, and today I am back. After almost 2 months of not recording anything, I am back. And today I'm going to be explaining why exactly I haven't been filming anything with my 350Z. And that is because in the past, 2 months ago, I purchased this piece of junk right here. I'll go ahead and explain and let you guys know why I'm saying it's a piece of junk. It is a 2003 Honda Civic, and I'm in my garage, so it's pretty cluttered in here. And this is in wide angle, so you guys can't really see it. But as you guys can see, the engine is out of the car. It's actually right over here, and the transmission is right over there. So this was actually a pretty cheap car. It was like 700 bucks. I thought it was going to be a good deal until I actually got it and found out it was a complete piece of junk. So the past couple of months I've been working on the engine and also trying to work a little bit on the body, getting rid of some of the rust. But yeah, today I decided to make a video because I finally went ahead and took the engine out. I was trying to go ahead and trying to avoid doing that, but it kind of seemed like I had to go ahead and do it. I've actually, if we come over here to the engine, I've actually already replaced the head gasket on the engine. Yeah, that's what I spent most of my time when I got this car, was replacing the head gasket, because I thought that is what was causing the oil leak. And it was, but it wasn't the only oil leak it had. So I went ahead and fixed that, and then I went ahead and cleaned the engine up a bit. So now when I finally took the engine out, I was able to inspect it, and it does not seem to be leaking from the top of the engine anymore. I also went ahead and actually, when I was getting ready to take the engine out, I actually bought this right here, which was kind of helpful. It is a UV dye for engine oil, so you go ahead and put it on there, and then once it starts leaking, you just use a UV light, and it actually does a pretty good job of showing you where the leak is coming from. But anyways, I went ahead and used that, and as of right now, I haven't seen any leaks coming from where the cylinder head meets the actual block. And it's pretty cluttered, so you guys can't really even see where that is, but it's somewhere around in this direction right there. And at first I wasn't sure if it was the head gasket that was still leaking after I installed it, but now after taking it off, I can actually see that a lot of the grime is actually towards the pan right now. I went ahead and actually replaced the pan too as well, and the gasket, because the one that came with the car actually had a big dent in the bottom, so I wasn't sure if that one was possibly causing a leak. I went ahead and purchased this new one, and I installed it before I took it off of the engine out of the car, which I probably shouldn't have done that, because if we go around to this other side right here, if you guys can see, you guys can actually see a little bit of oil right there. So now I've been kind of inspecting the engine, and I'm to the point where I'm not 100% sure if it's the rear main seal that is leaking, or actually I also noticed that if you see right here, the oil pan, the new one that I purchased, is actually a little bit bent, and it's not sitting flush with the engine. So right here, you'll see that it's not flat or not flush with the engine. And when I went ahead and used the UV light with the dye of the engine that was leaking, I noticed that a lot of the dye was actually down here, and I didn't see any actually in the rear main seal, causing me to believe that it is actually the oil pan not seated properly that is causing the engine to be leaking oil. So what I've actually decided to go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and drop the pan. I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and flatten that edge out to see if I can leave it. Probably what I'm gonna try to do is flip it upside down, so the lip is facing the ground on a cardboard, and then I'm gonna see if I can tap it with anything, so hopefully it becomes flush with the rest of the engine, because it just seems like it's that side that's not sitting flush with the engine. So hopefully I can see if I can fix it like that. I haven't had this oil pan on the engine for a long time, and I've only turned it on twice since having the engine pan on. So I'm gonna see, I'm trying to do this as budget as I can. So I'm gonna see, hopefully the gasket isn't too worn out within this like month or month and a half that I had it on there. I'm gonna see if I can go ahead and use that same gasket and just try to bend or flatten the lip right there a little bit, and then go ahead and reinstall it. And I have to go ahead and take the pan off anyway, so I can go ahead and remove this bracket right here that actually holds on to the rear main seal gasket, because I want to go ahead and seal the back of it again in case it's back there where it's leaking from. Now that I have the engine off, might as well just go ahead and do everything and have a better chance of catching the leak rather than just doing it halfway and it not be the right thing and then still causing a leak. But right now what I'm going to go ahead and do actually is clean around it so that when I go ahead and take it apart, none of that dirt ends up falling inside of the engine. So here I have the new rear main seal, as well as the gasket for the bracket is actually inside of this box right now. And then basically I'm just going to be using brake part cleaner and some degreaser to go ahead and clean the inside of the transmission, as well as right there where the rear main seal is, the outside of the engine. Also, another thing that I forgot to mention why I currently consider this car a piece of junk is because if I go right down here, you'll see that this right here is the brake valve proportioning valve. And if you guys can see right there, all of these lines, brake lines, are pretty much all rotten, and since I've gotten it, it's been leaking. Right now there is no brake fluid inside the reservoir because it's just leaked it all out. So basically what I'm gonna have to do is replace all of those lines. There's 6 lines in total. There's 2 that come up to the valve, or that come from the reservoir down to the valve. Then there's 2 for the front brakes and 2 from the back brakes. So I went ahead and searched up how much all those lines would cost from a Honda dealer, and they came out to about over 500 bucks, and I thought that that was pretty ridiculous for the car, for how the car is. So basically what I'm gonna do in a future video, I've went ahead and already ordered all the tools and the lines that I need. I'm gonna go ahead and just do my own lines. After doing all the research, I found out that that would be a lot cheaper. Now, I don't recommend someone doing it who doesn't have really experience doing it. I am one of those people that have never done it, but I thought, you know, for the car that it is, I'll go ahead and take a chance, you know, learn something new. So I'll probably be making a video of how to, not a how-to video, because like I said, I don't have experience, so I'm not going to do a how-to video, but I will go ahead and do a video about me trying to go about doing the brake lines and figuring out how to do that, and seeing if I can save myself a few $100 along the way. Alright guys, so as you guys can see, here is the face of the engine. So what I'm going to go ahead and do first is go ahead and clean it with some degreaser. Now, from what I've understood from some video and research that I've done, usually degreaser leaves a kind of an oily residue, or it might leave an oily residue depending on which one you use. Because this faces up with like the torque converter, I don't want to have any oil on it so that there isn't any chance of it slipping in the future. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, after I use degreaser, I'm going to just go ahead and use brake parts cleaner. Hopefully that can go ahead and get rid of any of the oily residue. So that there isn't any chance of the torque converter or flywheel slipping in the future. So I'm going to go ahead and spray the foam on and leave it for about 10 to 15 minutes so it attacks the grime, and then I'll go ahead and kind of agitate it with a brush, and then I'll just use a cloth to clean it. And make sure to use safety equipment like gloves and safety glasses, because I just went ahead and got caked with the foam as well. And this is probably just me, but I've always liked the foam. I always feel like the sizzling and all that, you can actually feel it working on the grime. That's probably all in my head, but yeah, I've always liked to see how it foams up. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and leave it here for a couple of minutes, maybe keep on adding some more foam. What I didn't think of is that it is leaking on the ground, so I might need to put something on there to catch all of the grease falling. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and spray it one more time with the foam degreaser, and then go ahead and start scrubbing it with the brush. So I'm not trying to leave this 100% perfect like out of the factory, but I do want to go ahead and get rid of the majority or the big spots of dirt and oil that has been accumulated. Okay, so that's already starting to look a lot better than how it was. I'm just gonna go ahead and let it drip down some of that dirt here, and then I'll go ahead and use just a rag here to go ahead and clean it off. So this is the first time I've ever taken an engine out, but I can already see why it would be helpful to have an engine stand, because having to be right here squatted down, it's not fun. It'd be a lot easier if this thing was up on a table, so I could go ahead and not only better inspect it, but not having to be all in a uncomfortable position trying to clean it. But you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. This right here is where it was the worst, so I'm gonna try to make sure to get inside the crevices and clean it as best as I can. And I'm actually surprised that the greaser did a pretty good job. I was expecting the rag to come out a lot dirtier, but it's not as bad as I thought. Okay, now that I've cleaned it with the rag, I'm just gonna go ahead and spray down some brake cleaner. And like I said, I'm not trying to get this to look 100% perfect. And plus, where I see the most grime still is actually in this bracket, which eventually I will go ahead and take out. So it doesn't matter right now if it doesn't look that clean. But hopefully this right here cleans it up a little bit more. Oh, and I actually do see some more grime coming down, so that's a good thing. So one thing I do want to take note of, actually, it does say on the can to protect all rubber brake parts. So I'm guessing that also includes gaskets. So like I said, that one's being replaced, so it doesn't really matter, but I don't know, maybe this might eat through some gaskets, so you might want to be careful where you actually spray this brake cleaner on. It also says to be careful breathing this in. I honestly should have probably read this warning before spraying it down here in my garage, but I mean, I already went ahead and sprayed it all over, so it's a little bit too late now. But just in case any of you guys ever use it, you might want to use a mask or just spray it in a well ventilated area. But yeah, now just go ahead and give it one more clean through with the rag. What's nice about this is because it evaporates on its own, there really isn't that much to clean up. A lot of it has already dried up on its own. And it did take up, or actually remove, a little bit more of grime that I guess I didn't see. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Now that that surface is all cleaned up, I can actually go ahead and start removing everything and not have to worry about any dirt going inside of the engine. But yeah, I'll go ahead and give you guys a little bit more of a close-up here so you guys can see how much more cleaner the engine looks now. Here you guys can see right there, that corner was where it had a lot more of the grime, which is why I'm thinking the oil leak is right there. But I'll go ahead and see here in a little bit. And as well as right here, it was, makes sense though, because this is the bottom of the engine where more of the dirt would be getting stuck on. But yeah guys, now I'll just go ahead and continue working on the rest of the things that I need to do. I probably won't film it just because due to lack of time, I'm trying to get this done as quick as I can. This was just basically a little introduction or an update why I really haven't been filming. I've been really focused on trying to get this car done now, but it's been taking forever. This was just more of like a introduction of the car and basically what I've been working on lately. But because this is all new stuff that I'm working on, I kind of want to stay focused and not have to worry about filming as well. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for this video. If you guys liked it, please go ahead, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Repeat after me. Hakuna Matata.